Greetings, everyone.
Peace and blessings, family. How you all doing today?
Hope you had a good week. We're here again, as promised. Doing. Greetings, everyone.
Peace and blessings, family. How you all doing today?
Hope you had a good week. Sorry for that. So yeah, we're back again for week 2 of our G Carter Woodson challenge. Or Carter G. Woodson challenge. This week we're going to be talking about signs and symbols. So just like last week's format, we'll be talking for a little bit first, having a Q&A, interacting with all those who are tuning in. And then towards the end, we'll announce the winner. But I just want to give a shout out and thanks to all the people who tuned in last week and who entered the competition. We're really impressed with the responses. This week's turnout has been really impressive as well. So well done. I can see that about 90% of the entries that came in are correct. So that is fantastic. Do you want to go ahead?
Hey, thank you again, everyone, for joining in, for tuning in. We appreciate the time and the effort you're all putting in, turning up so that we all inform each other. We give each other positively to each other by sharing knowledge, by sharing our understandings. And in that manner, we all grow together. So thank you for those of you who returned from last week, who were here with us last week for our first prize giveaway. We appreciate you coming back again. Hello, Yatande. Yes, I remember you from last week, I believe. So thank you for turning up once again. And those who are here for the first time, just to give you another context, or rather to replay the context of what we decided to initiate this Black History Month. I think you have to bear with us because we have our internet glitches a bit. I see we pause for a slight second. So what we're doing for Black History Month, we decided was in looking at the reasons for why it was set up, um, mainly that by having a deeper cultural basis in terms of the knowledge that we know about ourselves and what type of contributions that Africans to Black people all over the world have contributed to world history over the years. It formulates, or it even gives you a greater sense of assuredness. It gives you a higher degree of confidence. It also fulfills a certain need within yourself, which has a deep, or rather highly positive psychological value. So ultimately, it also works with how you feel about yourself, and how you cultivate the very best that you can offer. So we decided that for this month, what we will be doing every weekend on a Sunday, same time, we have a prize draw. We give out a question, which will be given another one at the end of this show for next Sunday. And then you can email in your answers. And then what we do is we put it to the draw, and whoever has found the right answer, you get a chance at taking one of our courses or learning resources for free. So welcome once again.
Greetings. So, also just to let you know, whilst we're here, we are open to any questions you may have. This week, we're going to be discussing the subject of signs and symbols. So, it's all going to be about spiritual communication and the various ways it can take place. So, we'll be here offering our personal feedback on any comments that you have, as well as just having an engaging show as well. We'll be showing you some of the things that we've been working on. And also, just want to give a shout out to last week's winner as well, Chris Moss. I'm hoping that you've enjoyed watching the course. If you've had a chance to do it yet, thank you so much for entering the competition. And thanks once again for everyone who has participated so far. And there's still 2 more weeks left of these weekly challenges.
Yeah, the Pan African. So, in other news, family, your support over the years has been very important to us. But we'd like to share with you this week that we are proud and truly honored to be selected to be on the listing for the Pan-African Film Festival. Our very first documentary, Ancestral Voices, Esoteric African Knowledge, has been selected to be on the billing as one of the best of the content that they've shown over 30 years. Now, if you know about the Pan-African Film Festival, it's one of the vanguard film festivals which has the sole purpose of giving a voice to African Black creatives for their work, especially for groundbreaking work, which is usually not necessarily entertained in the mainstream narrative. So there's films on there like 500 years later, and if you know about 500 years later, that film changed the whole discussion on race, the enslavement of Africans. It was a monumental documentary at the time. So to be on the same billing as films like that really hit home. That was beautiful. So that's just in other news. So kindly, yep. Again, it's due to your support that we end up having these. So thank you very much, Pamela Cohen. We appreciate you, Pamela. We really appreciate you. You're just here every time. Even Facebook comments. Is she on Instagram?
I don't know. I'm
Okay,
not sure.
yeah. So Pamela, we appreciate you,
But
man.
thanks.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah, and also I just wanted to say that Pan African Film Festival obviously been going for so long, and we completed that film. It was released in 2011, and our film was screened in 2012, and it's just such an honor for the film to be shown the first time, much less to be shown again. And we were fortunate enough to even have our sequel documentary, Spirit is Eternal, showcased by them as well. So they have been really supportive of our filmmaking journey over the years. And one of the things, I believe you mentioned this as well, like some of the narratives that are highlighted is so important, because when we started this filmmaking journey, nobody wanted to touch this subject. It was just so I don't even think taboo is the word. It was just people just didn't want to come near it at all. Like it was really just challenging, to say the least. And just to be able to be given such a platform to showcase our work, it's truly been wonderful. So thank you to all the people giving us celebrations and support in the audience.
Yukiti, Yatande, JJ Jones, we appreciate all of you as well. Thank you so much.
And also just a reminder, if you do have any questions based on this week's theme, please do put your questions in the chat. So did you want to put something up?
The questions in the chat. No. One of the things that we'll be doing is, for those of you who are not aware, thank you, Teddy Banks. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, man. We keep trying, 11 years ago, as Verona was saying, it was to say it's a struggle was a lie, and we're not totally out of the woods yet, but to have the family also now take into the knowledge is what makes it critical. It's what makes it different. To have more energy embracing that lineage takes it further. Yes. So thank you, Teddy Banks. The River Blessings family, are you both initiated into IFA? If not, how do you work together with the lifestyle changes, conflict of taboos? Well, I'll get to that question in a minute, the River. But first, I think what I'll do is, for those of you who might not be who have not seen or aware of this first film that has been added to the listing of the Pan-African Film Festival, I will play a short trailer for the film. So just bear with me.
For some reason.
I'll see if I can find it. And then we can have a brief glimpse. So just bear with me. So this is the trailer for the film that has just been added onto the billing. So if
associate yourself with your ancestral heritage, be you Japanese, Chinese, Indian, African, you are lost for your ancestral, your cultural.
Okay, family, just to confirm, can you hear sound or not? Because we can't hear it.
If you
let us know in the chat if you can hear the audio.
With your ancestral heritage, be you Japanese, Chinese, Indian, African, you are lost.
Oh, you can?
For your
all right, thank you, Pamela.
Your cultural heritage. Because if you're asleep to that, you are asleep spiritually. And if you're asleep spiritually, you can be oppressed and manipulated.
Juju, voodoo, evil, apparently. If you want to say Obia and Juju and Ifa and everything else African is evil, it is simply a tool that we have given. It is a God-given tool. It is a tool that exists in the universe. Use it for good, use it for bad. I was always taught that you use it for good.
The first Christian worshipped Jesus at the end of a whip. He didn't choose to worship that. How would you choose the religion of your oppressor? It makes no sense.
But I would argue and say that no, Christianity is actually, it predates your traditional beliefs because the spirit was there before everything happened.
The tradition, the culture, is to do with the universe and our place in it. Religion doesn't deal with that. Religion deals with one person. They have personalized God.
You know, the other reason why African religions are so maligned and bedeviled is because religion covers your total being. So if you follow your religion, it means that you're servicing your total self.
She didn't believe in doctors or anything. She was her own doctor. She was guided by nature. If you were ill, she knew what bush, what to do, what prayers, that's her way. But to everybody else, she's an Obia woman.
African belief systems have not been given the same mainstream attention or concentrated research. That is why we don't understand them, and which is why it's deemed negative. It's just lack of understanding.
Greetings.
Hey, peace, family. So that was from 2010. This is when that first film was released. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully it resonated and brought a few thoughts out.
If you have any feedback as well, drop it in the comments. I can put it on the screen. So that was our first film, which opened up the discussion about African spiritual philosophies and practices and why they were presented in a negative light despite sharing so many philosophies with other mainstream religions and spiritual faiths. So that was the main premise around that film, including, addressing whether there's a spiritual consequence for us discarding these traditions and turning our backs on them. And it also speaks about the role of the media in kind of reinforcing these negative perceptions. So go check it out if you haven't seen it already. It's called Ancestral Voices, Esoteric African Knowledge. And I've put the link in the chat for all those watching.
Do you want to go to the questions? I think they dropped a couple of questions in the chat.
Yeah.
If you go up to
okay, cool. So do you want to do because you read the Ifa one first, so let's do that one first.
So this is a question from the river. Blessings, family. Are you both initiated into Ifa? If not, how do you work together with the lifestyle changes, conflict of taboos? We both have different degrees of initiation, if you will. I have a full initiation into Ogun, and then I have the hand of Ifa. V, you also have the Ashe of.
And so I'm part initiated, so I'm still on my journey. My ruler of my head is Yemaja, so that's my main energy, and I have my Orisha shrine that I work with. I also I work with also Oshun, and I have an Egbe shrine as well, but I'm not fully initiated. I'm part initiated, and Dalian completed his in October.
Yeah, October, November last year. So I don't think how do you work together with lifestyle changes, conflict of taboos? Obviously, with a taboo, we've not had a taboo that conflicts either of us in any way, shape, or form. As you know or may know, there are yearly readings at the end of the year that your spiritual house, your babala will read, and then they'll let you know perhaps even what are the taboos just for that year ahead. Yes. And then there's also the taboos that you have as and when you complete your initiation fully. But so far, no, we haven't had any that brings any conflict in our lifestyle whatsoever.
No, there's no conflict, but I would say since particularly Dalian's been initiated, there are a lot more set rules that he needs to adhere to. So for anyone who is interested in that path, just know that there will be certain things you have to do on certain days. So I mean, I have to do that as well, but I think for an initiate, it's a lot more involved. And so that is a regular commitment that you have to make. Okay, so the next question says, I keep seeing cats cross my path. That represents protection, doesn't it? So indeed, when I see cats, I normally think of protection. I think of ancestral energy, guidance, that they're following you along your path. So, for example, often I'm walking down the street and I'll just have a cat literally following me, like it's like how a dog walks with its owner. I get that quite a bit, and that's just a sign of that spirit being around you. I would also say if you are experiencing such phenomena, look around what's happening in your life at that time as well. So let's say if you had a family member recently pass, or there's an experience that you're currently going through where you may feel that need for protection, that cat could be symbolically showing you that, look, we're here, we're guiding you, we know times are hard, but don't worry, we've got your back. So definitely always listen to what your intuition says. But yeah, you're on the right path in terms of symbolism, in terms of cats. Do you want to add anything?
No, just well, mainly just that cats historically are representative of that archetype of protection. You find it even all the way into Islam with the Prophet Muhammad, because there's a story about a cat protecting him at a time when he was meant to die. Yeah, I've forgotten what the exact nature of the story was. It was a long time when I was having that study. But yeah, so it's there. If we go back particularly into Asian Kemet, because according to the British Museum, domesticated cats, as we know them now, all stem from that place we call the Nile Valley or Asian Kemet. Okay, so this is where cats, I guess, were originally bred to be companions in the household. Okay, so it's that reverence stems from there, and they were so revered in ancient Egypt. I believe there was a battle. Now I can't remember which exact invader it was with, but they were so aware of how highly revered the cat was, which is obviously why we have letters like Bast or Bastat, the cat figurine. That on the battlefield, these invaders actually let loose cats onto the battlefield because they were aware of how the Asian comedians would then obviously try not to harm these cats. So they could only fight at a disadvantage to themselves. So this is where some of these notions come from. But as Verona has correctly said, it's also up to you to identify the context within which you're seeing the cats. What color may it be? Did it pair in your direction? Did it stop for you to pat it? What were you thinking in that very moment when you encountered the cat? All these are extra ponderings you need to add to your experience in order to further illuminate your understanding of that situation. Yeah, but definitely you're definitely on the right track.
Okay. Yatande says, do either of you have a preference between the use of category, religion versus spirituality, or any other for that matter?
Okay, Yatan, did you mean the term? Do in terms of how we use the term? whether we prefer to use call it a religion as opposed to a spiritual system. I would take it as that might be what's being inferred, and that is it's one of these really, it's not a conflict, because sometimes when you're describing your or you're trying to make a statement, you want to say it in the least possible way so that your meaning is as direct as possible. But then you sadly always find that there's always someone who will try and nitpick what is being said, even though they can clearly understand the message. They'll be asking you, but why did you use that word? So I'll give you an example. Like we have this kind of like a label that where we say God is your ancestor, right? Now, if I wanted to say that, really, because I know that the term God is insufficient to describe the source of creation as we know it in African knowledge systems, it makes it easier to read if I just put the word God there, because God is just a concept that describes the source of creation. Now, if I said the creator is your oldest ancestor, we have two words all of a sudden, and it makes the meaning, it stretches it out slightly. And it's the same with the word, I guess, religion and spirituality, because a collective expression of a faith really, in essence, makes it a religion. Because, so let's say all those who are initiate of a particular orisha or deity, the way they all practice makes it a religion, because there's a prescribed way in which you will perform ritual. Yes, you won't be let's say an initiate of your manja, or let's say Shango, and decide to do something of your own volition. No, you will all work to a prescribed way of worship, of offering, of the orikis, of the invocation songs that you will sing. You will all be doing largely the same. So in that sense, what we have there is an expression that is religious in nature, because that's what religion is a prescribed means which everybody adheres to within a tradition. But I guess where the word spirituality is key and is important is the fact that within even these religious expressions, we also have elements of what we will call your own spiritual expression. So yes, you can be an initiate of Oshun, but you also have a day when you also set up offerings for your ancestors. Yes, so and there's no conflict. So even within your religious expression as an Oshun initiate, you also have your spiritual expression, which has to do with your family ties, because that is up to you and solely up to you. It's not prescribed by the system. Yeah, I hope that put some light onto that. Do you have anything to add for your Tande?
No, I think you've comprehensively
Ogunye Moye. Give thanks, Yatande. I see your message up there. Yes, give thanks, brother.
Okay, so Larry Johnson says, appreciated, but with so many different tribal beliefs, how can one know which what? Well, this is what we actually cover in our Spirit is Eternal series, which we've made into a documentary and book. And we have gone across the various traditions across the continent, as well as those in the diaspora, documenting the core themes that appears throughout. So whilst there are many different practices, yes, of course there are. But if we're looking at the core teachings, they're the same. So for myself, for example, I'm from the diaspora, I'm Jamaican, so I can't say from the continent I'm from, but by understanding that they all share these unified principles, then it really doesn't matter. What matters is I connect to that wisdom, that source wisdom, and find my own way to practice it and incorporate it in my life. So do you want to add anything? But Spirit is Eternal. If you haven't seen that, please go check it out. It will answer many of your questions and confirm any of your fears.
Yeah, no, I think you've answered it very well. And what really Larry is asking is that where the focus comes on is the expressions of what people are doing, isn't it? So as Verona has just said, at a principle level, their understandings are the same. Okay, so let me see if I can explain it this way. When we have different forms of footwear, okay, I'm looking at Larry's picture. The lady in there is wearing high heels, right? Larry is wearing formal casual shoes. Okay, I could be wearing slippers here right now. These are all examples of footwear. At a conceptual level, it's just something you wear on your feet to protect your feet from, I don't know, stepping on a stone and cutting your feet. That's footwear. But the types of shoes are different, and that's up to the designer. So that's all that you've asked, really, Larry, and what Verona is saying. At a principle level, when we look at African indigenous knowledge systems, going all the way back from ancient Kemet to now on the continent, and even into the diaspora, with the expressions like Haitian Vodou, Brazilian Candomblé, and the like, the core philosophies are the same. It's just the expressions of that idea which might be different. So yeah, there really is, the only difference is in how people have chosen to express that idea. I hope it makes sense. And as Verona has said, for those of you who want to understand what these core ideas are, the documentary Spirit is Eternal is the one that takes that systemic look at these systems and what these core ideas are.
So would that be a good time to play the trailer for that?
Yes, we can play the trailer for that. Thank you very much, Larry, for that question.
We're just going to play the trailer and then we'll get back to questions, but it will give you an idea of what the documentary is about.
Powers that exist in nature and in all the plants and elements and animals of nature.
The Loi, the Orisha, Inkisi, Vodou, all of the names that we call our spirits by, all of the manifestations of God, teach us to be our own masters.
Don't run from being African. Don't run from our story. It's the greatest story that could be told.
This is our story, our African story. Yes, we remember the pain, but still we remember the glory.
All right, so hopefully
was that the whole thing?
Yeah, that was the 1 minute trailer.
Oh, okay. So Larry Johnson, that's the documentary that takes that systemic look at what are these core ideas, and there's really 5 main ideas in every African derived spiritual system you will encounter.
There's also a book that accompanies the documentary for those who want further insight, which expands more. There was only so much we could fit in the film. I think the film was about 1 hour and 45 minutes. But for those who really want to get deeper information, it's worthwhile getting the book as well. So our home study course includes both documentaries and the book. So that would be a great place to go.
Thank you very much. Roland, I appreciate you. Okay.
So Angel Leslie says, I have noticed that I am connected to nature, weather, and all animals and insects. What does that mean for me? To me, that just means that you're in touch with your divinity. That's who we are. We are ultimately a part of nature. So it's only natural that we will have that connection with it, that you go outside, that you have a relationship with the animals, the trees, the plants, the rivers. This is at core who we are. So if you are noticing those experiences, then we would say it's time to start developing your practice so you can become more attuned with what those aspects of nature are saying to you.
Yeah, no, definitely. That you feel you're connected, that just means you have a heightened spiritual awareness, and you should use it as much as you can. You should try your very best to connect as much as you can. If it's finding time to just, hopefully where you live doesn't get as cold as in England in the winter time. If you can, as often as you can, find time, go out into the green, take off your shoes, sit down, ground yourself, have a notepad, or just start recording your thoughts. Find time to pour libation in your backyard as often as you can. If you can, wake up at dawn, somewhere between 5 to 6, and just go outside in nature, and you start to notice that your mind starts to prime you into different spaces. Yeah. And it's very necessary. So that's really all that it means. And quote unquote, lucky you develop that. I want to say thank you to Ronald. Your wife is so beautiful. Thank you very much,
Thank
Ronald.
you, Ronald.
I appreciate your comment. You know, it would be nice for me to hear comments. Obviously, it doesn't have to be from you, but you know, thank you anyway, Ronald. Yeah, I appreciate you. Hey, Ogunye Moye, that's my brother. Yatandi, thank you so much. Alexi, hello, nice to see you again. We love your dedication and your commitment, Alexi. You come all the time. Yes, so your head ruler is Oshun and Yamaja. Lovely. That is beautiful. Yes.
We just read that one.
Okay, so this is correct. Thank you. So this was when we were asking for clarification on your question.
So keep seeing.
Beautiful. I'm glad we could answer it, Atande. Nuku Ameyibo
says, I keep seeing pigeons, either 2 or 3 cross my path often. Do pigeons signify something? To be honest, everything in nature signifies something. So the first thing I would always say is connect with your own intuition. What did your intuition say at the time of seeing the pigeon? I would also recommend going online and looking at the symbolism of pigeons. But in addition to that, study the pigeon. Look at pigeons. What do? They tend to go around in flocks. They tend to just eat whatever is available. Look at the animal, because those traits that the animal has are all clues to the message that this pigeon has for you. But definitely have a look online. But as I said, always check your intuition. A lot of people just go and look online and accept whatever is said. No. It always starts with yourself first. And then what you may find is that when you do go online, it confirms something that you already knew. So that's how it should work. Always start with yourself first. But if you are aware that you're seeing the pigeon often, then the pigeon definitely has a message for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Nuku. I don't know your name. Are you Ewe? Your name reminds me of a Ewe name from Ghana. I'll say one of the things you can also do is, if you do have that cultural connection, if you're one of the lucky few who can, you can find out from an elder what pigeons actually represent in your culture, because that could also give you an insight as to why you're seeing so many pigeons in your life, you know. But in the absence of it, as V said, for most of us, we don't necessarily always have that access. Go with how you're feeling. Study, because this is how we come up with these archetypes about nature. Study the nature of the pigeon, understand how they behave, how they interact, and then look at yourself and in your life what's going on in the times, and see how that is mirrored as a reflection. Yes, because that's you and nature. It's like looking in a mirror. So there must be a reason of something happening now, which is why you're encountering so many of them. And then, the answer will come to you, most definitely.
Okay, so JJ Jones says, what does it mean when you ask for help or information from the ancestors and the results are immediate? Well, it means that your ancestors are around you, guiding you, supporting you, and making sure that that information is delivered to you. So to me, that's just a wonderful sign that they're there. And the fact that the message came through so quickly possibly could also indicate that this is a message that you need to know right now and something that you need to act upon as well. So I've had instances where something may happen and I may procrastinate or just think, oh, I don't have to address it just yet. And then spirit will come and give me a message so quickly, which means that, okay, I need to implement this quickly. I need to act fast. So I would definitely take that as a possible potential meaning on why it's happened so rapidly.
100%. It means she's deeply connected too. Some people wait years and they're still not seeing anything, and then these are the people you find who just leave the way, because they say, I've been pouring libation, I've been doing this, that for my ancestors. I can't even hear what they're saying to me, so I have to just move on. And it's not about giving up so easily. Do you know what I mean? So now you should be absolutely
a wonderful faith experience.
Wow. Yeah, that's fantastic. That is so fantastic. Yeah, you should be happy, JJ Jones. 100%.
Yeah. So whatever you're doing, the relationship with your ancestors, keep it up. They're showing you they're around and they are giving that support. So that's fantastic. Just wanted to put that on the screen. Thank you for your donation, Theodore Blanks. And wow.
Go up some more. The questions have come in a lot.
They have, haven't
Bear
they?
with us. We're losing track of the questions now. I think it's down
there we go. All right. So Nicholas Wiseman says, I was sitting in the sun 2 days ago and 3 beautifully shiny black crows landed a few meters in front of me and all looked at me for a moment.
Wow. That's beautiful.
That is, do you want to go
first? No, I have nothing to say beyond the fact that it's beautiful. The only thing I will say is too many people get spooked by crows or ravens and blackbirds. Yes, because there's this, again, to me, it's a kind of form of Afrophobia, you know? We're afraid of black everything. No, it not at all. Some of those birds, they look majestic, especially when you look in their eye. Yeah, it's all it can be an experience. So what I can say, Nicholas, is lucky you. If you can even get a crow or a raven feather, please go and add one to your shrine. Do you know what I mean? There might be something there for you. You know, sometimes you do your prayers, you just you bless yourself with it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Good.
And I would just add as well that crows are often associated with sort of spirituality, that sort of mysticism, the unseen, ancestors. And I know that when I started my spiritual journey, I kept seeing a lot of crows, and I found it quite supportive. To me, it represented me opening up that spiritual aspect of myself. So often, as Dalian mentioned, black animals are often depicted as negative, so crows, black cats. But in my opinion, when you see those black animals, they're generally very highly spiritual creatures and just representing that abundance of spirituality and ancestral guidance that are around you. So
and power.
Yeah, and power. So hopefully that resonates with you, but always go with what your spirit says when you have those experiences.
I think he even typed something more.
Oh, has he responded?
No, Nicholas. Oops. Sorry, Nicholas, we'll get to it. I think one of our comments broke the.
I don't know.
Yeah, there. It's the same one. I felt seen somehow.
Oh, okay. So Nicholas added, I felt seen somehow, even though I used to think crows are a bad omen. I can't, you see? So exactly everything we just said. Yeah. So this is the thing, we have to always kind of let go of the programming that we've received. And it's so deep, you know, the programming takes a long time to get rid of. But the fact that you're already conscious of it in itself is wonderful. That means you're on your path, you're on your journey, and you're just embracing the experience. And that's, the more you do that, the more spiritual message will come to you.
Yeah, no, I think maybe me and Nicholas and all of us share from that film, The Omen. Those who've seen that film from, I think it was the 70s, 80s, that's where this idea of this bad, they really imprint it in your mind, because you see the bird all the time and it comes and goes quah, quah, and they're just programming your mind to nonsense. Sometimes you can even have them when they make the sound, they actually warning you. I've been in instances where I should have stayed home. You know, I walked out my gate. This is when I've been in Ghana, and I could hear the crew just making a whole heap of noise, and I knew that day I should have stayed home. Because the minute I walked out the door, I ended up having an experience that I wasn't meant to have, and I didn't really enjoy the experience at all. You know, but then, we have to look out for these things and get our own interpretations of it. For me, at that moment, that loud sound was to tell me, stay in the house. But, you know, human beings, we always like to, I guess, do what we want to do. So I just said, look, forget it, man. I've been in the house all day. I just want to step outside. And the day could have become something totally negative. So we have to step into that space to listen. But I'm glad that you said you felt seen. So hopefully you also understand who's seen you and why they're even looking in the first place. And you've managed to develop that even further.
Beautiful. So the next one is from Teddy Blanks. Oh, the way it says it sounds like it's almost like there's a continuation. Maybe we read the first one.
Yeah, we did. We read the first one.
We made
scroll up a bit.
I couldn't see the previous one, Teddy, but you're saying, do you need to get initiated into African spiritual system, Vodou or Ifa, to receive spiritual protection? And I would say no. You do not have to get initiated in order to get any form of spiritual protection. The first thing I would say, if you're new to this path, please, before you do anything else, start to develop a relationship with your own ancestors, your own DNA. Start to activate it, work with it, cultivate that relationship with them. You are the most recent version of them, just living in this physical presence, but that DNA, that ancestral memory is still within you. So that is your starting point to build that relationship. Once you start to do that, then you'll start to receive the spiritual guidance, the insight. You will feel their protection. Initiation is something that if you feel called to do, then you can go and do that. But please don't ever feel that you need to get initiated in order to feel spiritually protected or to feel that you are somehow connected spiritually, because that spirituality is already within you. It's just a case of awakening it, cultivating it, and really maintaining that spiritual relationship.
Well, you know, for you to be alive, it's already your spirit that's keeping you alive. That's what spirit is. It's that animating force that gives you your consciousness, you know. So I'll say the other thing you can do, Teddy, is we have a free course called the 5-day e-course, where you can we'll put the link in the chat for you, because the aim of that whole course is for you to start that ancestral connection so you can start on your journey. Okay, no initiation, as I believe I was saying last week, will give you wings to fly. You know, it doesn't work like that. And there's no point having an initiation to use it to make up for what you haven't already put there yourself. You need some groundation. So it's very key that you develop that ancestral connection, because as Verona said, you know, they're here in your very DNA, you know, and it's them that you are the extension of. So once you have them on your side, remember, your parents gave birth to you. They also are the same ones that looked after you for you to grow and become the person that you are now. In the African understanding, we know, because we work with the essence of people, that just because the body is no longer here, that means the person is also gone forever. You're working with the person's spirit. And furthermore, that person, an essence of that person is also here speaking to you all the time. So please go take that course. It's the 5-day e-course. It's free. 5 days, every day we share different experience from our own lives, so that you can also see how you can cultivate yourself, because we're no more special than you are in any regard. We've just put in the work and the training. So, you know, take the course, empower yourself, and then you can consequently develop yours as you go along. Thank you very much, Howard, for the support with both documentaries. We appreciate you.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so wow, there's so many questions. All right, so okay, we did that one. So sorry, family, we are catching up. Okay, Malachi Lee says sometimes we approach African spirituality like Christian faith, which is linear, and it's so true. A lot of us, we carry so much programming, not even just Christianity, as we mentioned before, the things that we watch on television that program our minds to perceive certain things as negative. So we do have to let that go and understand that with spirituality, as you said, it's not linear. There's no concept of time. You know, people say, but how can you speak with dead people? How can they have any involvement in your life? But in African philosophy, there's no such thing as death, because they're still alive in the realm of spirit. We're here in the physical, and it's a cyclical relationship that is always at play. So it's almost like we take turns, we exchange. And so that relationship is continuously there. So it is about changing our perception so we can really have more of an encompassing spiritual experiences. Because a lot of times, if we come with that limited mindset, a lot of times we can't even perceive spiritual communication, which is what today's show is all about. A lot of times, because we're expecting these grand gestures and I don't know, like ghost-like figures to appear, that we really overlook the small minor detail. And that's how spirituality is usually expressed by, you know, as people have mentioned, these nature sightings, all these sort of coincidences and things that happen. Let's go ahead.
No, there's nothing to add. It's exactly what he said, you know. It's not linear. You're not going from A to B. Neither are you in a place where everything is positive and negative. Doesn't work like that. Even when we talk about the fact that in African spirituality we have the spiritual realm and the physical realm. In the realm of spirit, there's so many graduations within that. The ancestral realms, there's elemental realms. So it's nothing is ever linear in African spiritual philosophy, and this is what calls us to be flexible, because the more flexible we are, the more we open up opportunity. So this is how we have to see African spirituality as potentiality, because everything exists in a state of potential. Yes, it's not just going to happen in a set way. It's just potential, and how you direct that potential is what determines the outcome that you end up with.
Wonderful. Yatande. Yatande says, I really appreciate your passionate and very clear sharing of this knowledge and wisdom through your art. Very accessible, enabling people to get the information in a non-intimidating way. Thank you so much, Yatande.
Yeah, give thanks. And for all your times, man, you were here last week, you're here as well. And I know I'm sure I've seen you as well on be another of the live. So your support is also, it's very, very appreciated, man.
And we appreciate that feedback, because that was one of our main kind of focal points when putting the documentaries together. We wanted to make it clear, easy to follow. We wanted to destigmatize the entire subject, because so much of us have been filled with that from childhood, that we thought, let's just break this down. So the fact that you've said that and you have found it easy to absorb, that means that, job done. Yeah. So that's great news. That's fantastic. So thank you for that feedback. We appreciate all the feedback on our work, by the way. So please do let us know if you do have any commentary like that. Okay, so Shonda says, what does developing your practice look like? Good question. Once again, if you haven't already seen it, we would definitely recommend our free 5-day e-course. But in terms of
each 5-day shows you how to develop that.
It will show you. And so, for myself, it starts off in the morning with ancestral reverence. I also pay reverence to nature, which I use my garden to do that. So connecting with nature, we mentioned that earlier in the show, is a very important thing. For me, spirituality is something that is very much throughout the day. It's not like something I do once or twice. It's something that is continuous practice. We also give offerings when we eat food. So we give offerings to our ancestors. So they take a portion of the food that we eat. At night as well, not always, I must say, I've been slacking sometimes, but I do give thanks for the day, so I can start again and repeat the cycle the next day. So other things as well, cleansing the home from any negative energies that may be there, just clearing the space. So burning incense, preferably natural incense is what I tend to use. There's a whole multitude of things that we do, and a lot of our courses go into a lot more depth on how you can cultivate your own spiritual practice, because everybody's different. Everyone has their own things that they do. So I would never say you have to do X, Y, Z, but it's about cultivating your own practice that works for you.
Yeah, no, I can't recommend it again, because it's freely done. So I don't know if Shonda might be new to our channel, but as I said, 5 days teaching you exactly how we have walked along that path ourselves, to show you that this is not, you don't need like a PhD or anything like that you're developing your own spirit, so I'll say for me, what that also looks like is you need to have an altar in your home somewhere. And that doesn't even need to be a big grand altar per se. It can just be an object of power within which you invest your own positive thoughts. What does your practice look like? It can be even the positive things you tell yourself at the beginning of the day, and how you might then affirm that with some libation. So again, all these things are covered. The course is free, you take it every day of the week. We look at a different aspect of developing your practice. So yeah, please do take some time.
Sure. So Angel says, blessings, Ashay, I appreciate your answer. I do and will continue. So I can't remember what the response was for that, but whatever we did, it was great.
Yeah, that's she. Angel's the one that is experiencing a lot of nature-based
Yes,
experience.
yes. And Alexi says, I always see feathers when I'm feeling down.
Oh,
so
wow.
that's beautiful as well. That's definitely a sign of
Excellent.
spirit being around you and comforting you, just letting you know that they're around. But also, if we even look at the feather is light.
Yeah.
So it's also just saying to kind of relieve that heaviness, that stress you're putting on yourself. Dalian mentioned this earlier with the crow, but when you do find one of those feathers, maybe you should use it to cleanse yourself off. I know that when I did my Reiki practice years ago, one of the things we were taught to cleanse your energy is to use the feather. So that would also be something you could implement to kind of clear any negative energies that you may have that are allowing you to feel down.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What I love about that is, and the fact that you see what Alexi exemplifies is also much of what we've been talking about. So, family, you always need to pay attention to the moment in which you're in, how you're feeling, what you're thinking about, especially because that's how you correlate it with what you're seeing. So Alexi just told us she sees feathers when she's feeling down. And what's the function of a feather? Maybe one of the reasons we can't fly is because we have no feathers. Feathers allow birds to fly, and when you fly, you're up and you're boundless. You're no longer down and, I guess, grounded and feeling low. Yeah. So it's interpreting some of our spiritual synchronicities. It really, again, the answers are all there. You have to just bring it forth. As I said again, you don't need a PhD. You just need to trust in yourself. Yeah. That's key. So, yeah.
Lovely. So the river says, blessings again. For me, my signs have been in the form of numbers for the past 10 years, all type of numbers, 11, 11, 12, 12, 12, 3, 4, 3, 3, etc. Can you speak on the numbers part? Yeah, the river, I can relate to you 100%. I started to experience this phenomenon myself. I don't know, probably around the same sort of time period. I can't remember exactly when. Mine started with the number 11. I kept seeing it multiple times a day. Every time I looked at the clock, it was 11 minutes past the hour or 11:11. But I was already familiar with the concept. I came across a guy online who was speaking about, he kept noticing the correlations of the number 11. And I also looked into it, and it represented like a spiritual awakening and just kind of starting to see reality for what it really is, and opposed to the sort of conditioned version. So if you're seeing numbers, and I wrote an article on it because that's how much I see numbers, I was like, I have to speak about this. If you do see numbers, once again, the same advice that we've been given throughout is, what were you experiencing or feeling at the time? These are always important things to take note of with the numbers. For me personally, I feel that numbers more represent being in alignment with a certain frequency where you're able to see it regularly. Definitely a form of spiritual presence communicating with you. People often recommend looking at angel numbers online, which I do think you should do. However, my issue with angel numbers is they all pretty much say the same thing. You're on the same path. Your angels say yes, all of this. So for me, I'm like, nah, just always think, what is it that's going on with you right now? What do you feel? What is your intuition saying? But definitely take note that it is a form of spiritual communication. If you're seeing it that frequently, then they have a message to you. So if you're getting it that often, I would say maybe start meditating on what they're trying to communicate. It could also be a sign to start committing more to your own spiritual practice so you can start to decipher what is being said. I do have an article on our website titled Keep Seeing Repetitive Numbers. So you may want to have a read of that as well. Some of it may resonate with you. So you can have a look on our website, and it's on the article section.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. V gets the numbers more than I do. Yeah, I have other things that I see. Numbers, I do get them sometimes, not all the time, but V has a stronger connections with the recurring numbers than I do. Has always done.
Okay, so Ajinem Kwabena Manza says, both videos are in my collection. Great buys for my children and teach them the way of our ancestors. Oh, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And it's beautiful that you're teaching the children as well. And that's another reason why we made the videos in that simple, straightforward format so everyone can absorb the wisdom. And, you know, this is something that we felt we didn't have this information growing up. So for the next generation to have resources like this available where they can watch it with the family, it's really, you know, that would change the way the perception is moving forward and our own connection with spirit. Okay, so Universal Force says, do you think I'm crazy if I tell you I've had conversations with the moon, bird, and plant? I asked a Pacific bird to appear while I was sitting under a tree, and it came to me. No, we wouldn't think you were crazy, because this is it. Once you start to embrace these kind of African spiritual knowledge, and it's not even necessarily African spiritual knowledge, it's just indigenous knowledge, period, across the globe. They've always understood that we are connected with nature. We are connected to our ancestors. This is just how we're supposed to be. So well done. The name is appropriate, Universal Force. You are connecting to that inner universe within you, which is enabling you to have this relationship with your external environment. So wonderful. We do not think you're crazy.
Yeah, this is not the space that anybody will tell you you're crazy anyway. You know? Most people that appear normal, hey, but that's another conversation. I don't even want to get into that. But no, no such thing as crazy per se. Perhaps you're just on your own frequency. Let others catch up. Exactly. Yeah, it's not up to you to be following others. So Erica Krutu Davis, I was told to connect with Mami Water, but my ancestors that was connected is not here to teach me. I've been already been in practice for years. Do I need to be initiated? Okay. If you can give us a bit more information, perhaps it will help. As in, who told you to connect to Mami Water? Because then you have to take it further with the spiritual counselor or initiate who gave you that information. So if you're in when you say practice, are you in a practice with Mami Water? Because Mami Water also it's almost become like a system on its own. And then when you go even across West Africa, you find various Mami Water shrines, and not all of them are the same either. You know, so I would say you need to work with your spirit in that regard to find out what exactly is telling you, and most importantly, who told you might need that initiation. That will be what I
think. More clarity on that, Erica, will help, so we can give you the appropriate advice, I would say. Okay.
Yeah, so there's Nuku.
Oh, so Nuku says, yes, thanks for the answer. Yes, I am away from Ghana. So thank you.
Good to see you, family.
And Nicholas from the Crow question before said, that's exactly how I felt. Thank you. So that's great. So Angel Leslie says, a few weeks ago, I saw 18 magpies and 2 crows flock to the tree in my garden as soon as I opened my back door. I felt absolutely blessed. Exactly.
Fantastic.
That's beautiful.
Fantastic.
You have a whole spiritual army just outside there looking at you, just supporting you. That's beautiful.
Yes, I think we might be holding them, because I know we've told everyone you're gonna be here for an hour, you know. And sorry, man, you get caught up in the flow. So the hour is nearly up, and we haven't. Maybe we can do the draw, and then we can come back, maybe take 2 more questions. I don't know, I'm mindful of.
All right, you don't want to go through a few more questions? We're getting towards the end, I think.
Okay, I'm just reminding that the hour, in case, you know.
Okay, well, we'll make it quick. All right, so okay, all right. So Eric Calmback says, always see smoke out the side of my eye. Also, when I stand at the trunk of my car, I feel like someone is running towards me, but no one is there. So to me, obviously, there's some sort of spiritual energy that you're picking up on, I would say. And I'm not sure if you're someone who already picks up on spiritual energy around you already. If you are, then that energy is obviously trying to make themselves known to you. However, something like that, you may want to even get a reading to detect further on what it is. Myself and Dalian don't offer readings as such. That's not more what we do. We do more consultations with people on general things. But yeah, that one I'm not sure. I think you would have to sit with it, meditate on it, and see what is being communicated. But you are picking up on some kind of spiritual energy that is possibly in your home. So you need to identify what exactly that is.
Yeah, sounds like there's something for you to see, Eric. You know, so spend some time with it. As V said, if you have someone who can provide you perhaps a reading, maybe that might help give you greater insight. But you see, with some of these comments, again, I don't think we can get as deeply as perhaps we can, because there's a lot more context that will need to be.
But you've already got one on the screen.
Yes. Alexi's just telling us what she's seen. She had 2 cats. Stood by her room the entire time. That's a beautiful share, Alexi. And I'll tell you what happened over in our garden as well, because when this corona crisis started off, a cat just started coming to the garden, and that cat now has been coming to that garden for 2 years now. It never wants to come into the house, but it will come every day to get fed, and then it will go. So again, as we've already covered so much about the cats and that protection energy, you know, so it's just a blessing. It's a blessing all the time. Is that
you want to go to Teddy?
Yeah, okay. That's the one that comes in.
Okay, so Teddy Blanks was my original question. Where is a good place to get ether initiation or protection? Okay, for on your family from spiritual attack. Okay, so we did kind of answer that already, but you're the
but I think
one.
what you do, Kevin, is send us an email. Okay, if you type in the email, and then because what you're saying is you actually want to speak to somebody, yeah, or a place where you can actually get an authentic initiation, for lack of a better word, right? So absolutely, send us the email, and then we can direct you to those who we've been working with and trust. We're talking 10 plus years of an established relationship, 10 years plus of working with shrine houses which go back generations, yeah, not just people who just maybe tapped into a gift. Because if you were here on last week's show, I believe you were, talk about everyone has that capability, but who's managed to have the time to develop it to a greater degree, comes up, I guess, with more means of working that power, really. So send us an email, because it's not, it requires a bit more than just me being able to answer that straight away. So we'll look forward to your email.
I think Susanna's question is a very appropriate one to ask. So Susanna says, my daughter is adopted. Do I need to connect her to her blood ancestors, or is she with mine? Can it be both advice? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think, blood is important, because within blood, again, is where we have millions of memories, millions of people, millions of essences of people that have gone before. So to have that connection is important. Definitely, I will say, if you can, most definitely, at least find for that connection to be had. It doesn't mean necessarily that even when that connection is made, again, something wonderful and tremendous ends up happening. You might meet a family and they don't even want to have nothing to do with you. But the fact that you've made that connection of your own volition is enough. It takes you into another space. Okay, so I'll say absolutely, if you can, please do make sure that you engage that connection. It will help the daughter herself, because it will help awaken other memories within her. She'll see the family. Perhaps she knows what the family does. What is it that is special in terms of the medicine or the gift that this family has. It will help her understand more about her own talents and her own abilities as well. Yeah. So if you can, please do. I would totally recommend it.
Okay, lovely. So on that point, we can start to play The prize that will be given away this week is called Signs and Symbols. So we're just going to put that video on for you now. So once you start developing a relationship with your ancestors, you will start to find that spiritual communication will take place. And this can happen in various ways, including dreams, thoughts, visions, synchronicities, nature, signs, sounds. There's no limit to the way that spirit can communicate with you. This is why ancestor reverence is held in high esteem amongst African spiritual traditions, and it is known that by calling on these energies and maintaining a relationship with them, they can act as spiritual guardians to assist their descendants and communities. So once you start that relationship with your ancestors, it's important to become very mindful of the different forms of communication that takes place. Oh my God. Hey family, this is Verona from Ancestral Voices, just updating you on some new courses we have available. Regularly we are asked on the page, how do I know when spirit is communicating with me, and how can I interpret dreams, symbols, and synchronicities? So what I've done is I've taken a few segments from the workshop I carried out in Birmingham, UK, and formulated them into 2 different videos. The first video focuses on dreams, where I give examples of dreams that I've had and show you step-by-step process on my method of decoding the dream. The second video focuses on signs, symbols, and synchronicities. And so what I will be doing is giving a few examples once again on the various different ways they can take place by showing some of my own personal experiences and the messages that come through and my process of how I break down the messages. So the main point of this course is to give you the tools so you feel confident in recognizing spiritual communication in its various forms, but also being able to decode the messages that are being relayed to you, as this is a massive part of anyone's spiritual journey. And the more you start practicing, interpreting these messages, the more easier it will become. And what I have done is provided this information in a clear, simple form for everyone to understand. And I hope you find these courses helpful along your own spiritual development. Great. So that is the essence of the signs and symbols video. It also comes alongside, there's 2 separate ones. There's one that focuses on dreams and one that focuses on signs and symbols. And this week's prize is for the signs and symbols video. So for those who have entered the question prize draw, or for those who haven't even seen it, this was the question for this week on our Carter G. Woodson challenge. What is the term used to describe the coincidental occurrence of similar events that seem meaningfully related? So I've actually got the winning answers here. So let me just be clear as well. The winning answer, I can type it in the chat before I say, yeah, great. Oshara's already done it. Thank you for saving me typing.
I hope you send the email in, Oshara, because you should win it now.
I know.
I hope so.
So that is the correct answer. The correct answer is synchronicity. So as I said at the top of the show, around 90% of the people got that one correct, which is fantastic. Also, we did have a few people say serendipity. But the thing about serendipity, it normally represents when you have an experience that is more of a positive association. So I don't know, you wear a particular jacket and it has some money in it. That's when you would say, oh, that's serendipity. And then, yes, Alexi says, I thought it was deja vu. That was the other one that we received. A lot of people said deja vu too. But deja vu is when you have an experience and you're like, but I've done this before. But you're like, but I actually didn't do it before. Whereas a synchronistic event would be a prime example of that would be, I don't know, you're on the phone speaking to a friend that you went to school with. And then you're speaking on the call about you haven't seen anybody from your school days in like years. and then later on that week you happen to see somebody that you were just speaking about on the phone call, that would be a synchronistic event. So well done to anybody who got that correct. And I did last week, you can do this week.
Let's see who's gonna win it this week. This one's sticking to my finger. Nicole Love.
This is tiny. Nicholas Lovely.
And Nicole.
Oh, is it Nicole? Nicole Lovely.
Yeah,
so let me just type that in the chat. So well done, Nicole Lovely. You are the winner of this week's prize, which is Signs and Symbols, which is like a 20-minute video. It isn't like this, what it is, as we mentioned before, spirituality is your own experience. And it just gives some simple tips and advice on how you can start decoding some of these symbolic messages when they occur in your life. So Nicole, thank you very much. We hope if you're watching as well, please let us know, because that would be amazing to have you watching live. But I will be dropping you an email later to give you your own personal unique code so you can access that course for free.
Beautiful.
So thank you. Oh wow. Okay, do you want to have a quick read of this?
Yeah,
okay,
there's one from before.
So Sandra Harper says, interesting discussion. Thank you, Sandra. So glad you're enjoying it.
Okay, so what we'll take 2 more. So sorry, family, that we can't take all, because I'm also mindful that we bill it as an hour, and yeah, I just don't like impressing on people's times too much. So there are 2 comments I think that we missed.
Whose time are we impressing on?
Well, we've read the winner now. Maybe Nicole had been waiting for the whole hour saying,
no, fair enough.
What's happened? I'm still here and you're still talking. So,
no, fair enough.
Yeah, you just don't know. So
fair play.
Just bear with us, family. Are you guys happy to give us?
If you are still happy
10 minutes,
to stay,
because we will also let you know next week's question ahead of time, because you've taken the time to be with us, and then we can just share that ahead. Then you might get your answer in.
That's already in a video.
Yes, I've lost the questions so much now. Okay, so from the adopted.
Yeah, that was the next one. If you're trying to do it in chronological order.
What you guys say as a whole is true. I heard that to find spirituality, first start to reconcile past experiences, then you're open to spirit experiences. In your opinion and experience, is that true? 100%, Jessica. And if you haven't done our free 5-day e-course, please do take it, because all you're also going to have is a reflection of clearly what you've just typed there, everything you've been through and how your journey has come to be now. And then I believe there was an apologies, family, that we can't get through all of them, but we will do our best.
So Pamela Robles Cohen says, what can you share about the Nkisi? I would say that we have an extensive series that's on our YouTube channel where we spoke with Dr. Lualuka, who does give a fantastic breakdown on the Nkisi and Bakongo cosmology. So I would say, please have a look at those videos. Otherwise, we would definitely come off theme, which is today is all about signs and symbols. But go check those videos out. They're available to watch on YouTube at any time.
Yeah, and Dr. Lualuka is very deeply informed brother about the nature of Nkisi. He's from the Congo himself. Yeah, and he has his books. But as Verona said, we've interviewed him how many times now?
About 3 or 4.
About
actually.
3 or 4
there's
times.
Quite a lot of information.
Yeah, you have a lot of information to catch up on. So please head over to the YouTube channel and.
Okay, so Renette Renford says, how do you start to interpret in dreams? You would start by looking at the symbolism within the dream, and that would always be your starting point to decode what the message is. But for more insight on that, I would recommend checking out the other accompanying part to that spiritual communication series, which is on dreams. And it gives you a few examples of how I break down my dreams so you actually understand the process to follow. So both of those videos, just to be clear to the audience, they provide very simple tips and tools on how you can start to do this for yourself. One of the things I really stress to people when it comes to spiritual signs and symbols, it's really something that we should be developing for ourselves. You don't want to be in a situation where you're constantly asking other people or going to see readings, what does my dream mean? It's really important just to learn how to do it yourself. So with those videos, they are simple, straightforward tools. They're not even necessarily long videos, but the guidance that is provided will help you to be able to do it for yourself. Okay, so LEG says, is there a link between life force, organisms, viruses, and entities? And I would say yes, yes, and yes. And to even bring the conversation more relevant, I would say I've just published our most recent article, which is called Spiritual Parasites, that also touches on the very same question that you asked. So please do go and have a look at our website. Spiritual Parasites is the name of the article, and it also encompasses the other area of today's show, which is signs and symbols, because it was a nature symbol that prompted all of this insight that did lead on to understanding about life forms, viruses, entities, and how these can actually impact our physical bodies and our physical experiences as well. Aji Manza says, so you have a decent size altar.
Yeah, hello, Aji. I think you just became a Facebook friend of mine. I can see the same profile picture and the same name. So hello, nice to meet you again. Yeah, is that
well,
to
be fair, his is actually very big.
Yeah, it's so big. I even have to change it over the years. So after certain years, there are certain things that come into your life, as they say, for a season. So over time, I have to actually go and bury some of them. So at set times in the year, and when we've expended the energy or that energetic relationship with the object, I go and then I find I have different places where I go and I bury the objects, and then you come back over time too and pour libations on there, keep the energy still charged. So wherever you end up burying them, you can go back and give libations. But yes, for altars, I have what you might call a multi-purpose one. So there are many things on the altar. It's not just strictly ancestral. There's also a lot of other stuff. And what should be in that space, again, the free 5-day e-course, you will get all those insights in there. Otherwise, we will be here even longer. So just register.
It's also about what resonates with you. So in the case of Dalian, as he mentioned, there'll be certain items that he has on his altar which are relevant for that particular time, and then over time he may change those items. So you need to find out what your altar is for, its purpose, and then make sure whatever you put on your altar is a representation of that. So, but that's a personal thing as well. Once again, there's no one size fits all. It's what you resonate with. But definitely check out that free course. Okay, Alexi says, I also seen ladybugs last year. They filled my house like they had a nest there. Ladybugs represent good luck, fertility. So maybe you were doing some kind of creative project, or maybe you generally were expecting a child. I know that when we were expecting our first child, our home was filled with ladybugs as well. So it does happen that way.
It was like a whole colony. That was when we were also working on the first film.
Yeah.
By the way, the whole we have like is it a walkway? So there's a little space between where your main door and the outer door is, and the whole ceiling, you couldn't see the ceiling. It was literally a colony, So yeah, it's a beautiful thing,
All right. So Jessica Washington says, evening, thank you for this. A question. I read that to open spiritual one should reconcile your past to clear ways to experience signs. In your experience, is that true or let me just read that properly. I read that to open reconcile your past. I wouldn't necessarily say you have to reconcile your past. I would say that in order for you to experience signs, they will happen anyway. However, in order for you to perceive them, there's a process of, we mentioned earlier in the show, if you were there for that, to kind of take away some of the programming that we've received, because that can also block our ability to see it. But importantly is the need to discern whether it's our intuition speaking or whether it's our own fears and programming and all the other stuff. And that is definitely something where we have to be reflective of ourselves and be prepared to do what is commonly known now as shadow work, where you're really checking yourself for any ideas that you may hold that are limiting or that can change your perception or your beliefs. So whether it's a case of reconciling your past, I would say it's more a case of just developing yourself. It's more a case of becoming aware of who you are. And then when you're able to make that distinction, then you can recognize a sign. But it takes practice, because when I first started this journey, every time I saw something, I'm like, is that a sign? Is it me? Am I being paranoid? And then that was an ongoing dialogue for a long time until I became confident in myself and my own spirit. And then now when I see something, I'm like, that's what it means, because I'm confident in myself. But as I said, that's an ongoing process. And the more you commit to your spiritual development and keep up your regular practices, you will notice a difference.
Yes, no, that's beautiful. So thank you all very much for that. Indeed, being present in the moment, Angel Leslie, so important. And for those of you who can't see it, Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy has shared some amazing experiences for herself. So please, I'll direct you to go read it. I think we'll take one. Yes, but then she then goes on to talk about a fantastic experience. I'm trying to read it without going off. So I would say let's all, but I think she came. You see, she herself came to the realization.
So we mentioned as well at the top of the show that black cats, well, cats in general represent spirituality, protection, that kind of mystical spiritual relationship. So if you're seeing cats, that's a good sign. And we mentioned as well that black animals, historically have been presented as negative, but in our experience, it's the complete opposite. They actually represent a strong form of spiritual protection and power. So if you are having a relationship with black cats, that's great.
Yeah, she found it to be amazing.
So there you go.
Ajimansa, thank you again. Yes, we're also happy to be put on the best of path, definitely. So we'll take the last statement / question again. Dada Ife. Greetings, the finch bird follows me wherever I am. I even saw them in Oyibi, Ghana. Would the finch be my spiritual animal? I don't know, Dada. How do you feel? Do you feel that that is your spiritual animal? Most likely. What is it about the finch that you find that draws you especially to that one rather than say any other bird? So once you go and do that investigation, it will become clearer for yourself. And you might not only have only one spiritual animal either. You might have more than the one. But the minute it sounds like the finch is what you're working the most with or has a relevant correlation for you. So I'll say follow that. Follow that 100%, and so thank you all very much for that. I will read.
Erica says, thank you for your teachings. I'm learning a lot and getting a lot of confirmations. That's fantastic. And Teddy Blank says, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and thank you both for all that you do. Much gratitude. Thank you.
Beautiful. Teddy, please send us that email and then we will pass you on or direct you to who best we can put you in contact with.
Eric also says thank you.
Pleasure all the time.
And that's quite a long one. Do you want to go into that or?
You can just read it.
So Ravon says, thank you for being here. Months ago, I felt a strong negative forces working to harm me. And at first I thought it was the amount of weed I was consuming. But after detoxing, I found my premonitions / visions were not false. I followed my consciousness and did things to protect myself in various ways, great or conscious. After taking action, I have been guided to do, and the vibes, visions, and feelings have all been lifted. And your answers today give clarity to my thoughts, spiritually and mentally. Thank you again.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful, Raven. And that's exactly what it is that you took that initiative. Number one, you identified something was happening and you thought, let me start eliminating things from my life. So then you took out the weed. You found that without the weed, that clarity was still there. There were certain things that came in that state, but it came to pass. It was true. So then that allowed you to start tapping into your own knowledge and recognizing that you are being given these gifts. You followed your intuition of the guidance, what to do, and then you found that cleansing process helped. So that's brilliant. That's exactly what we were saying. That's what you were saying. Yeah. We're not special. We all have this gift. It's about learning to trust ourselves. And so Rayvon's given a brilliant example of how he was able to trust in his own spirit, follow that internal guidance.
Raven could be a woman as
Sorry,
well.
Raven. Sorry,
we
Raven.
don't know that. So yeah.
He or she. But that advice is fantastic. Yes. You know, you're implementing it for yourself, and that is spirit in action.
I love that, because you know that answer encapsulates everything that we've said, which is that we all have spirits. If you didn't have a spirit, you won't be alive. Period. Simple. End of story. So trust in your spirit. And as we will actually close off on that with that beautiful affirmation from Raven, because spirit is also everything to do with the next question for the draw next week. Okay. And I will read that after V answers Sandra, because Sandra, I think, is new to our.
Yeah, so Sandra's saying it's important to do for self. Where do we find these videos? So everything that Ancestral Voices does, all of our videos, our courses, including the free courses, the videos that you've watched today, the documentaries, that's all available on our website, which is scrolling across the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, so go to ancestralvoices.co.uk.
Yeah. So whilst Dalian is typing in the chat, you've changed something. Oops, it went off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to start again. Go on. It's fine. Go on. It's there.
You need to put the cursor in there so I can.
Oh, okay. Sorry. There you go. Press space. Yeah. Okay. So Raven says all these. I won't. It won't. If you're typing, doesn't matter. We'll just wait. But Raven said that all these topics are ones that have been on my mind to find info and explanations. So thank you, universe. Indeed. And here we go again. Signs and synchronicities. You were clearly meant to be here and listen to this conversation, because spirit is already got you on the path. You're already doing it. And sometimes you just need that additional confirmation to know that what you're doing is correct. But I think you've already shown us that by following your internal guidance, you were able to do what you needed to do, which is wonderful. So the question for next week, for those who want to get in early, what's the prize for this one?
So the prize for the winner of this, we have a course series called the Transformative Self. Okay. And the Transformative Self is a 6-part series where we delve very deeply into African cosmological philosophies. And the reason we do so is because what we know is that a lot of these African philosophies are now being discovered in this area they call quantum science. Yes, and it's all to do with the word that we have on the screen, spirit. Because what Africans know and perhaps call spirit is also what science calls energy. Yes, and we're all beings of energy. Again, you know, for you to know how energetic you are, you can just rub your hands like so, and then all of a sudden you've generated what? Heat energy. So we are beings of energy. So the question relates to the first episode in that 6-part series. So you have some homework to do. And that homework is, what is the term that is used to denote spirit in the Akan language? In the Akan language, what is the word for spirit? Iyanifano, Ashe is your vital force in the Yoruba system. And again, you don't answer the question here. You're meant to email us. Please put the email address on the screen. So those of you who think you have the answer already, please, you have to send the answer to this email. Please don't type it in the comments now, because sadly, even if you were correct, in the interest of transparency and objectivity, I can't take that answer.
So if we ask that you email us, so we can print all the names, the correct answers, put them in the applies drawer, but also we need your email address so we can respond and give you access to the actual course as well. So
wow, and Cheryl's doing the work. I purchased the Transformative Self course and I'm really enjoying. So worth it. Family, you will be so surprised. The amount of things that are going on in the world that we need to be aware of. So you see this word that we use, I guess quite flimsily, spirit. Remember the word I use, potentiality. African spirituality is about potentiality. Potentiality just means everything falls within the realm of possibility. Everything is possible, all depending on how we work with the energy flows. So thank you very much, Cheryl, for that support. And then please, if you have any questions, please email them in directly, and I'll be more than happy for us to have that conversation. So give thanks again, family.
And Ian Ifa, Opidan Remy says, not answering, just saying Ashe for your conversation. Thank you for that, Ashe. You're feeling the conversation, and that's why.
Give thanks. Yes, man. That's a high energy. Thank you, Yanifa.
Okay, so Angel says, blessings, love and light, guidance and prosperity to you both. Sister Queen and Brother King, thank you so much. Dada Ife says the same thing. Appreciate, love. Thank you so much. So thank you. I believe that concludes us for today. It's been a nice one. It hasn't been as busy. So please like, comment, and share to anyone who may find this conversation of interest. For everybody who was asking about where they can get some of these videos, everything is available on our website, which is scrolling across the screen. And thank you so much. Once again, your support is appreciated. Absolutely. Thanks to all those who donated, all your questions. Yeah. These shared spaces allow for communal learning. It's not you just learning from us. We learn from you too. And we love that kind of mutual exchange. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. So thank you all very much once again. And we look forward to seeing you next week. So for those of you who might be new to our channel, because we seem to today we've had quite an influx of people who are new. As Verona has already said, please go to our website, ancestralvoices.co.uk. Those who are still new to it, the free e-course, there's nothing we've discussed here that you won't find in more detail. And then you just realize how, you might even start mirroring us, because you see how much commonality we all have in our lives. Tande, big thanks, my Ogun brother. Ogunye moye. Ogunye moye. Give thanks, family. We'll see you all next Sunday.
All right,
what is the term for spirit in the Akan language?
Take care, family. Until next time. Bye-bye.